I watched my parents laugh as they ordered the most expensive dishes on the menu. No one asked about prices, no one looked at me. I felt it in my chest before the bill even came. This dinner wasn't a celebration, it was a setup. And I was the one meant to pay. Please take a moment to subscribe to Nillavoices, where unheard stories finally find a voice. Your support keeps these stories alive, and your presence here truly matters. My name is Jenna, and that evening began with a smile from my mother that felt warm on the surface but hollow underneath. The kind of smile that always made my stomach tighten before my mind could explain why. This restaurant looks a little pricey, I said carefully, hoping my tone sounded light instead of anxious. Karen waved her hand dismissively, already settling into her chair. Oh, please, don't start worrying before we've even ordered. My father, Robert, barely glanced at the menu before speaking with confidence. I'll have the ribeye steak, medium rare, and make it the large cut. Ethan shifted beside me, lowering his voice. Dad, that's expensive, Robert chuckled, leaning back comfortably. It's a special night. Stop counting pennies. I stared at the menu, every number swimming together as familiar pressure filled my chest. Maybe we could share a few appetizers instead, I suggested, trying to sound reasonable rather than afraid. Karen sighed loudly. Why do you always complicate things? Order whatever you want. I nodded even though I didn't want anything extravagant, because pushing back always made things worse. The waiter approached with a polite smile. Are we ready? Karen leaned forward eagerly. Yes. I'll take the lobster pasta and a glass of red wine, Robert added without hesitation. Another glass for me, calamari for the table, and some garlic bread. The waiter turned toward me. And for you? My throat tightened. Just the grilled chicken, please. Karen raised an eyebrow. That's it? I'm not very hungry, I replied, avoiding her eyes. She shrugged. Your choice. As the waiter left, my parents began laughing about a relative's financial struggles, joking freely while I sat quietly, pretending not to calculate how many hours of work this dinner represented. You should really loosen up, Karen said between laughs. Life isn't all about money. I wanted to scream that money was all they ever asked me for, but instead I forced a smile. When the food arrived, Karen took photos of her plate, adjusting the lighting. This is what success tastes like, she said proudly. Robert nodded in agreement. Someday you'll understand. I already do, I whispered, though no one heard me. They ordered dessert without asking, discussing flavors while my chest felt tighter with every word. When the bill arrived, Karen picked it up, casually, glanced at the total, and slid it across the table toward me with practiced ease. There you go, she said. I laughed awkwardly. What do you mean? Karen tilted her head as if confused. You'll cover it, right? I stared at the numbers, my pulse pounding. I thought we were splitting it. Her expression hardened. Don't embarrass us, Jenna. It's a lot, I said quietly, my voice trembling despite my effort to control it. Robert frowned. You earn enough. Stop acting like a victim. Something inside me finally gave way. You always expect me to pay, Karen scoffed. After everything we've done for you, this is how you talk. Memories rushed in uninvited, every promise to repay me dissolving into silence, every request framed as temporary but never ending. I can't keep being your safety net, I said, tears burning behind my eyes. Karen's voice sharpened. Ungrateful. Absolutely ungrateful. People nearby glanced toward us, and shame washed over me as my hands shook while pulling out my card. Ethan whispered, I'm really sorry, it's not your fault, I murmured, though the words tasted bitter. The waiter returned, sensing the tension, ready to check out. Yes, I said, forcing steadiness. I signed the receipt, feeling something irreversible shift within me. Karen stood and grabbed her purse. See, that wasn't difficult. Robert clapped my shoulder. Family looks out for each other. Outside, the night air felt cold and heavy as they walked away laughing, leaving me standing there alone. In that moment, clarity hit me harder than anger ever had. I wasn't their daughter at that table. I was their solution. The morning after that dinner, I woke up with my chest tight and my phone heavy in my hand, already knowing there would be messages waiting for me. Karen texted first, You really embarrassed us last night. I hope you've had time to reflect. I stared at the screen and whispered to myself, reflect on what? I typed, deleted, then finally replied. I felt taken advantage of. Her response came fast. So now we're the villains. I closed my eyes, and suddenly I was back in my college apartment, sitting on the floor with unpaid bills spread around me. I can't help with tuition, Karen had said back then. We already planned our trip. I'll figure it out, I had answered, even though my voice shook. Now I was sitting at my kitchen table, whispering the same sentence out loud. I'll figure it out. At work, Maya watched me stare at my computer without typing. You look like you didn't sleep, she said gently. I didn't, I replied. Do you ever feel like love comes with an invoice? She frowned. That's not love, Jenna. I laughed quietly, tried telling my parents that evening. I drove to my parents' house because I needed answers. Or maybe I just needed the truth spoken out loud. Karen opened the door with crossed arms. If you're here to argue, I'm not in the mood. I'm not here to argue, I said. I just want to talk. Robert sat on the couch, eyes glued to the television, pretending I wasn't standing there. Why do you always expect me to pay? I asked, keeping my voice steady. Karen scoffed. Expect? We thought you wanted to help. Help isn't help when I'm never allowed to say no, I said. Robert finally spoke, his voice low. You're being dramatic. That hurt more than her words. Why didn't you stop it last night? I asked him. He shrugged. Your mother handles those things. I felt something sink inside me. So you just let her? Karen stepped closer. You act like we're using you. You are, I said, my voice cracking despite myself. She shook her head. You've always been sensitive, I laughed bitterly. Sensitive? Or trained to feel guilty every time I protect myself? Her eyes narrowed. We sacrificed everything for you. I swallowed hard. Then why did I pay my own tuition while you posted beach photos? The room went quiet. Robert stood up. That's unfair. No, I said softly. What's unfair is how normal this feels to you. On the drive home, my hands shook on the steering wheel as memories crashed into me without permission. Can you cover rent just this once? Don't tell your brother. He wouldn't understand. You'll get it back next month. Next month never came. That night, I cried alone on my bed, pressing my face into the pillow so no one could hear me admit the truth I had avoided for years. I was never a priority. I whispered. My phone buzzed again. Karen, I hope you're done punishing us. I typed back. I'm not punishing you. I'm finally listening to myself. She didn't respond. The silence felt loud, but it also felt honest. The next day, Ethan called me. I heard Mom's upset, he said carefully. Isn't she always? I replied. He hesitated. I just wanted to say, I see it too. I closed my eyes, tears returning. Why didn't you say anything before? I was scared, he admitted. I didn't want to become the next one. That broke something open in me. I don't want that for you. After the call ended, I sat quietly, breathing through the ache in my chest. For the first time, I stopped asking what I owed them. I started asking what I owed myself. And that question refused to let me go. The call came on a Tuesday night, and the moment I saw my mother's name on my screen, my stomach tightened like it already knew what was coming. Jenna, Karen said the second I answered, her voice overly sweet. We need your help. I leaned against my kitchen counter. What kind of help? Robert's voice joined the call. We're applying for a small loan. I exhaled slowly. Why are you telling me this? Karen didn't hesitate. Because we need you to co-sign. The word hit me harder than I expected. Co-sign? It's just a formality, she said quickly. The bank wants reassurance. I can't do that, I replied, my voice trembling despite my effort to stay calm. The silence on the other end felt sharp. Karen laughed. But it wasn't kind. You're joking. I'm not, I said. I can't risk my credit. Robert's tone hardened. After everything we've sacrificed, you won't help us once. I've helped you every time, I said, my hand shaking. And you've never paid me back, Karen gasped. How dare you keep score? I had to, I said quietly. No one else was. Her voice rose. So now you think you're better than us? That's not what I said, I replied, tears forming. I just said no. Robert interrupted sharply. If you don't sign, don't expect us to be there for you. The threat landed, heavy and familiar. Karen added, family doesn't abandon family. Something inside me snapped. Not loudly, but completely. Family doesn't trap each other either. She scoffed. You've changed. Yes, I said, surprising myself with the steadiness in my voice. I have. Karen started crying. loud and dramatic. "You're breaking my heart." I closed my eyes as tears slid down my own face. "Mine has been breaking for years," Robert muttered. "This is unbelievable." "No," I said, my voice cracking. "What's unbelievable is how normal this feels to you." Karen's crying stopped instantly. "If you walk away from this, don't come running back." I swallowed hard. "I won't." The line went dead. I slid down onto the floor, my back against the cabinet, and sobbed until my chest hurt, grieving parents who existed only in my imagination. My phone buzzed again, and this time it was Maya. "You okay?" she asked gently. "No," I admitted. I finally said no. "And it feels like I just destroyed my entire family." She didn't rush to reassure me. "Did saying no feel wrong, or did it just feel new?" I wiped my face. "It felt terrifying." "That doesn't mean it was wrong," she said. Later that night, I called Noah, my voice still shaky. "I think I just lost my parents," I said. He listened quietly before responding. "Or maybe you just stopped losing yourself." I laughed weakly. "I don't know how to do this." "You're doing it right now," he said. "You spoke your truth." "I feel guilty," I admitted. "Like I owe them something?" "No," he replied calmly. "You were taught to feel guilty when you chose yourself." His words settled deep in my chest. "I wish they loved me without conditions." I whispered. "I know," he said softly, "but you don't have to keep bleeding to prove you care." After the call, I sat in the dark, letting the quiet wrap around me. For the first time, the silence didn't feel like punishment. The next morning, Karen sent one final message. "You've made your choice." I typed back, hands steady, "Yes, I have." There was no reply. I cried again, not because I was weak, but because I was finally honest about the loss. I mourned birthdays that would never be warm, holidays that would feel different, and parents who loved control more than connection. But underneath the grief, something unexpected began to grow. Strength. I didn't choose myself because it was easy. I chose myself because staying would have destroyed me. And even though fear still followed me everywhere, it no longer controlled my steps. The first message came almost 3 months after I stopped answering their calls. And when I saw my mother's name on my phone, I felt nothing but a strange, quiet calm. "Jenna," Karen wrote, "we need to talk." I stared at the screen for a long moment before replying. "About what?" Her response took longer this time. "Things have been difficult." I almost laughed. "Difficult how?" "We're under a lot of pressure," she said. "Bills, stress, people asking questions." I leaned back on my couch, remembering every time I had said those same words to her, and she sent another message. "We could really use your support right now." I typed slowly, choosing honesty over politeness. "You don't mean support, you mean money." Several minutes passed before my phone buzzed again. "Can we meet in person?" she asked. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a quiet cafe, the same place they once insisted I pay for without asking. Karen arrived first, her posture stiff, her confidence gone. "You look tired," I said calmly as I sat down. She sighed dramatically. "It's been a rough few months." Robert joined us moments later, avoiding my eyes as he sat. "Thanks for coming," he muttered. "What do you want to talk about?" I asked. Folding my hands, Karen cleared her throat. "We didn't realize how much we depended on you." I raised an eyebrow. "That sounds like an admission." Robert shifted uncomfortably. "We made some mistakes." I nodded. "You did," Karen frowned. "You don't have to sound so cold." "I'm not cold," I replied evenly. "I'm honest." She leaned forward. "We just thought family helps family." I met her gaze. "Family doesn't collapse when one person stops paying." Robert finally looked at me. "We're behind on the mortgage." I didn't react. "I'm sorry to hear that." Karen's voice softened. "If you could just help us get back on our feet." I interrupted gently. "No." Her face tightened. "So that's it? You're really abandoning us?" I shook my head. "I stopped abandoning myself." Robert sighed. "We're embarrassed. People are talking." I remembered all the times I had swallowed my embarrassment to protect them. "That's not my responsibility." Karen's eyes filled with tears, but they didn't move me the way they once had. "I never meant to hurt you." "I know," I said quietly, "but you still did," she whispered. "We miss you." I paused, feeling the weight of the moment. "You miss what I provided." Silence settled between us. Robert finally spoke. "What do you want from us?" I took a deep breath. "Nothing." Karen blinked. "Nothing." I don't want apologies that come with conditions, I said. I don't want guilt disguised as love. I just want peace. She shook her head slowly. You've changed so much. I smiled faintly. I had too. Robert looked down at his hands. So this is goodbye for now, I said, and maybe for good. Karen reached across the table, then stopped herself. I don't recognize you anymore. I stood up. You never really did. As I walked out of the cafe, my heart felt steady instead of heavy. Later that night, Ethan called me. They're struggling, he said quietly. I know, I replied. I just wanted you to know. I'm proud of you, he added. Tears filled my eyes, but this time they were warm, not painful. Thank you. After the call ended, I sat alone in my apartment, listening to the silence that once terrified me. It felt different now. It felt earned. For years, I believed love had to be paid for, proven or earned through sacrifice. Now I understood that real love never sends an invoice. My parents paid the price of their choices, not because I punished them, but because I stopped rescuing them. And as I turned off my phone and looked around my quiet space, I realized something powerful. I wasn't cruel, I wasn't selfish, I was free. And for the first time in my life, that freedom felt like justice.